Hey guys, this is NCSRR with another installation of map making and how I go about doing things. So once again, as you guys can see, I am back to working on Cincinnati. I've gotten a lot more done since the last video. I really didn't see the need to cover a lot of this, like building the pig yard. It's pretty much the exact same way as covering Guest Street minus the curved yard. The only thing that I wish I would have covered is building the south end of the receiving yard. Last episode I mentioned building switches, split switches. This is what I meant. It's where you have um, multiple segments making up a switch instead of like the ones up here in Guest Street, where it's just segment, diverging leg. This one is segment, segment, diverging leg, and it's like that due to the spacing with the yard track, since they're not 5 pixels apart. They're actually wider than that. But yeah, so how I did that was I approximated the segment length that I would need. I figured it was about 24, 25. Turned out to be about 24 all the way down. And then I believe that I have it set for 3 pixels right now, going this way. So what I mean by that is I got the initial segment, this one right here, at the right angle I needed. I completed this whole lead right here, the bottom one, right here, and I ended up putting a switch in right here, and I believe I went up 3 spaces. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So that gives me the correct spacing. Doing switches like that is acceptable. Again, I'm not really the best at explaining stuff, but doing switches like this is acceptable. Next time I do something like that, I will record it. Initially, I didn't think I would need to design it like that, but that's the way that happened. Anyway, so what we're going to cover today is how I go about doing hump yards. Don't know if I'm going to cover the whole build for the hump yard or if I'm just going to cover the groups. This set of tracks right here. Each one of these is called a group. So what I'm going to show you guys is how I go about formatting the actual switches into the groups. Oh yeah, I also got a little bit over here. Just setting up for the support yard and the trim yard, the approximate length for that I will need to go ahead and build those. Again, that's just with the copy tool. Get the track you need at the right angle that you need, and use the copy tool, and that'll get you going. So as you can see for the hump, I ended up building all the switches that go into each group. So when you're building hump yards, every track past the crest, the white segment right here is the crest. Each segment going towards the bowl has to be made the same way. And by the same way, I mean the same direction. So when I use Control F, you can see it just goes right down this, like right down whatever track is set for the normal. So you can see that for every one of these going into each group, it goes the same way. So the reason for that is when you go to activate the hump in FYM and actually set it up, set the routes for each track, you're effectively doing the same thing. That segment's going to travel the track, and it has to meet the next segment in line, going the same direction. I will try to show you guys over here what I'm talking about if you don't have it set up the right way. Yeah, right there. You see how it's bouncing back and forth? So right there, going left, I have to use Control R, which takes it towards the blue segment. So you keep hitting Control R, and you run into that pink segment right there, then you have to go to Control F. That's because the direction of the track changes, like the build. You can see that all the way down. So if that was a hump yard, it wouldn't work. You'd have to completely rebuild that section so that every track was facing the same way on the direction of the build. So the same logic applies to hump yards. Generally speaking, I will take a segment of track, get it approximated. It doesn't have to be exact, but I try to make it so I can just copy and paste all the way down. This takes a while, but this will give me the spacing that I need to get this project done, and reliable spacing. And the same thing goes along for this. Like I mentioned before, for every 5 tracks you lose one. So your 6th track you won't be able to fit. So if you were to go through and count the tracks, for every group of 5 you're going to lose the next one. So there is some track loss, especially with hump yards, which can be rather inconvenient if you need the extra tracks. Okay, as you can see, we have all the tracks that you can possibly fit in here. Once again, you will not be able to fit all of them just because of the limitations of the game and the height that we use to build maps. So, I like to start top to bottom once I get all of those tracks put in. So, come up here, get Google Earth opened up. Once again, as a reference, I reference everything just to make sure that I am going about it the right way and getting the right switches. So that looks like that'll be a good starting point. So I'll come up here and build that switch. And since all these switches fan out, just the way the groups are made, you can see they get really close together, and then they fan out into in each individual track. You kind of want to keep that in mind when you're building these, because you want to replicate the look. If you go and build a yard like this, try to build a hump yard like that, where all the leads are spaced out the exact same, it looks really bad and really blocky. So get this segment, do what I can with it. So you can see that switch starts. About right in here. Alright, there's the first 3 tracks. Start on the 4th one. And this is the track right here that we're going to be ending on. So once again, it started about the same place, give or take. Probably right in here. Alright, so that is the first group, first lead, or not the lead, but the all the switches for the group are now in place. Fix that switch right there so it's actually facing the same. That's something I also do pretty regularly when I'm building hump yards, is make sure all the switches are where I need them. Like as far as what leg is normal and what leg is the diverging leg. So you guys heard me mention last video that smaller segments for some of these curves are better. That is the case for most hump yards as well. It just looks better. And then the same thing. And this is just preliminary. You probably want to tweak it a couple times, like right here. That segment's going to look pretty goofy. But I usually get everything built before I really start tweaking the track and fine-tuning it. Because the most important part to me is actually getting the yard set up. I can clean everything up and make it look nice afterwards. See right there, you can see it gets a little goofy. And again, this doesn't have to be pretty the first time around. You just want to get the idea right and make sure that each track is built the same way all the way down the lead, so you don't run into issues with the hump. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. Yeah, I like that. I like that a little bit more. That little tiny adjustment really helped clean that up. And then same thing. Move on to the next one, and this is a lot of the same the entire way down. So how I do this for further clarification is I like to build right down the middle. You can see right there it's starting in on that lead. And I'll leave it right there, because that'll set me up to get my switches right. And then I go through and I hide everything a lot just to make sure that I'm on the alignment. So same thing. I start with the first 3 switches into the group and then build out. Same thing here. Run into that problem every once in a while the track segments are close. Then just move it back down to where wherever you like it. And keep going. So with this one, this group is a little bit different on the design. So in this case, I'll actually tweak the tracks a little bit more. And then I will start actually building out on this one. And again, same thing with Guest Street. Same way I build every yard. Try to keep the segments even. Obviously, sometimes you can't. This one, you don't. It's just the way you're building the groups. The segments won't line up, so you want like all of these to line up. But don't worry about it lining up the other groups. The only part you need to line up is actually all the straight segments. In between here, when you get down here into the switches, there are times where the segments won't be the same. There we go. There's the other one. That one's all ready to go. It's not I can't say it's not hard. This is by no means easy, but it is doable. It just takes practice, and following what I'm trying to show you here is a basis for what you're going to do. Again, my way to do things isn't the only way to do things. This is just the way that I've found works best for me and the other people that I have taught how to do various things in map. So once again, find the switch you want to start with. And I don't like this one. This one's actually a little tighter, but still doable. So I'm actually going to shorten this up. The other segments I used up here are 23s. These ones are 25s. I really want to keep it consistent because I like how the other two groups look. So once I'm at the 23, and there we go. That'll work. So this one will go here, get that switch put in, and then get the one behind it put in. Well, I guess that would be in front of it, but for this would be behind it. And then get that built up. That's not where I'm going to have that entirely, but for right now, that's where it's going to live. Right now, I'm just putting in switches and figuring out where I want them to achieve the look that you see here. Okay, now that I can select that, same thing. Try to get it lined up the best you can. Then once you get it where you like it, just connect it. You can see it's a little goofy. The curve's not as nice, no worries. All you do is just smooth it out. And as you can see from this one, it's not lining up where I want because I built the track too high. So we'll go in and move the segments to where they need to be. And there we go. That looks a lot better. Except for right here, I don't like that. So we'll go ahead and try to smooth the curve out just a little bit. There we go. That looks a lot better. Sorry about that. I had to answer text. So same thing with the rest of them as I've done so far. Just copy wherever, whatever track you want. and just go about connecting. Make sure that when you guys are doing this, if you happen to be working on a hump yard, or any yard, not just hump yard, any yard, the smallest piece of track that you can have is 10 pixels long. Anything smaller than that will throw a error in map. It won't. It'll work fine in the game. It just throw an error in map, and that is found using the. You'll see a CT button. I know on mine it doesn't show it. I can't figure out why the user interface won't show. But you'll see it on your side. It'll have the form plus save, and it'll have 3 buttons. And under that, it'll say review. You'll have DT, CT, SCK, and SOP. The CT will show you a track segment that's too short. So like the one I just made 7 pixels, can't have that. So I'll go ahead and just modify it like I would anything else. And the one ahead of it was 9, so I have to fix that one. And that one's fixed. So then this one has 3. And what I mean by 3 is 3 switches. So then I will do my best just to get them to line up the best that I can. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect when you're just putting track down. You can fine tune anything at any point. So then there's the 3 for that group, the 3 additional. And with how these switches are, it may or may not look the best, just because of how this group itself is built. Sometimes it's kind of hard to mirror real life in FYM map just because of how things are built. But that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work and be good enough. See how that looks? It's not bad. It's not bad. Try to get this that switch smoothed out a little bit. I don't like how it kinks up right there, like suddenly. See how that looks. Well, it looks better. It's not the best, but it looks better. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. It's probably the best I'm gonna be able to get out of it. Yeah, right there. That'll work. All right, on to the next one. And this one is built differently than all the other ones, and the following one will be as well. So once again, make sure that my segment down here is set to 23. start pushing the segment over and see how it lines up. So it lines up okay. Maybe not. That one's a little bit off. So we'll come back down here and we'll try 24. Okay, this one looks like it's going to prefer 24 over 23. So come down here. That looks like where I'll need the first one. And then it looks like I can put the second one right here. Yeah, that looks better. Get that one built. Make sure I save it, follow the habits I keep telling everybody, and save my work as I go so I don't lose anything. Well, it looks like that'll be okay. At least passable. Let's get that right there. And you can see right there it looks a little messy. So leave that right there. Build in our next one. Should be right about there. Once again, always double check what you're doing and make sure that you're getting the switches where they need to be. So this one's built a little too close. Again, no problem. And go here. You got another switch right in here. And see, that one does not look pretty. See if I can try to make it look a little nicer. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's just what it is. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it look much nicer than it already already does. Of course, it doesn't look that great now because of that gap in the track. So I think what I'm going to do is just redo that entirely. Let's take it back to right there. Leave all the tracks in just because, you know. So I have something to build off of. The top two tracks are going to fine, or they're fine. I'm going to leave them where they're at. And we'll just build and see if we can't get something that looks good and functions halfway decent. So right there. Sometimes you have to make compromises with the track layout when building these as well. Sometimes it just won't match the imagery, and you just got to make do with what you got. Like you have to combine switches so you won't have a diverging leg for one, which is essentially what I'm doing here, is I'm actually combining two of the tracks. There we go, there's that. And then for this one, come in here. That one should finish that group up. Almost. Starting to see you run into space issues right here. But it doesn't look bad. If I can get that area right there cleaned up, it'll look alright. Smooth out that curve a little more. What I'm doing right now is seeing if I can adjust the track anymore to give me a better appearance. Again, can't always do that. And with the way the track is, it looks like it's going to affect the other group, because I need to bring this one up one to smooth it out the way I would like to. That still doesn't look good. Alright, well, keep going with the modifications and get there at some point. Start moving the track points. And if you don't see one, or if you don't see that you got all of them, you'll know one of them will. You'll see that that's out of alignment pretty quickly. Alright, so there's that one. That looks a little-ish better. . Yeah, this one's a pain. Just even remotely try to get the angle right to where it doesn't look bad, because I'm trying to smooth this out right there. Because I need to bring every track up to get the look that I'm going for. So that might be good enough. Yeah, see, it's not right, but it's good enough. There's certain compromises you have to make when doing this, to where not everything is gonna look the way that you want it to, but you can get it close. So that should be good. Try to smooth that out a little bit so there's no horrendous gap. There we go. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Sorry I don't seem as enthusiastic. Today's been a long day for me, but I'm trying to keep this stuff coming out so I can help people that are needing help. Yeah, it might be okay. Yeah, that looks a little better. I'm just trying to smooth it out a little bit more. Yeah, so that'll do it for that one. All the switches look to be in the right position. Change that one. That one probably look better like that. Yeah. So just leave it like that. It's already 40 minutes, 43-ish minutes into this. Appreciate, whoever decides to stick around. Hopefully you're able to pull, information from this. Because even though I am working on a hump yard, everything that I'm doing here can be applied to pretty much any other project. This is not, exclusive to only hump yards. Alright, so this track right here is the one that we're going to end on. Alright. Looks like that one's about right there. Could be off a little bit. But this one right here is more like your classic yard ladder. I mean, there's still a little bit you got to do with the angle of the tracks to have it look like a bowl track, but it's a more familiar build. Alright, so that one's got to go up just a little bit. And one more. Looks like I might have to move that one just a little bit. I'll leave it right where it is. It'll probably work out. Once again, I'm not going to keep that segment like that. These are all just preliminary segments. I'll end up going back through with smaller stuff like you're seeing now. Alright, that finishes that group too. Try to smooth out just a little bit more and make it look a little bit more hump yardy. That'll work. That'll definitely work for that. So that leaves us with these 5 tracks down here. So as you can see right here, on this lead, not only do we actually have the group switch right here, you also have an escape right there that we also have to figure out how to put in. Probably won't be too bad. Probably just be a bunch of 23s like normal. That's yards been pretty consistent for 23s, 23 and 24s. Yeah, so this one probably going to be another 24. Yep. Alright, so referencing Google, you'll see the group retarder, which is that black mark right there. This one, this big black mark right here, that is your master retarder. That's for the lead coming down the hill. And the smaller ones right here that you see, those are group retarders for the individual groups themselves. And then you have more car retarders right here. Not every hump yard's like that. Built with the additional, or the car retarders up front on the bull tracks. Bellevue, for instance, has a group retarder. They have 2 master retarders, and then every group has a car retarder. And at the end of the track, you have track skates, or they're not retarders down there, but they're big like the retarders. But yeah, you have track skates. Queensgate has your master retarders, group retarders, then you have individual track retarders, and then you have skates at the end to hold the cars in the ball on that track so they don't roll out. For FYM purposes, we don't pay attention to the car retarders up at the front, or the group retarders, because our cars don't slow down based on car retarders en route. They slow down based on the car retarder at the end. So there's the 2 switches for that. So that one's probably going to have to be a smaller one than a 23. So I was just going to go ahead and do that now, but probably just wait. We'll go with a 22, I think. Yeah, it looks like that'll work a little bit better. Anyway, back to the bowl. Make sure that those switches are right. Yeah, I'll show you more about that escape switch whenever we get the rest of the bowl built. Well, the final group, I should say. Don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that. That looks bad. With the switch just coming up like that. So what I'll do is build it back here for this one. So you have the gradual cut into the track. And then I'll build the other one up here. And again, this doesn't have to be pretty. Just building as you go. Yeah, it does not look kosher. And I think it's because of that right there, just the using the one long segment instead of multiple tiny ones to get a better looking curve out of it. And then this one will look weird too. That looks a little better. Little's better. Looking a little better is better than not looking better at all. Alright, there we go. So that's that. Not sure how I feel about that bottom switch. It's alright though. Yeah, it's alright. We'll just leave it like that. Alright, so I was talking about that escape switch. This switch right here, so you can get out of the bowl, that one has to be normalized going down that lead right here into the group track. If it's not, obviously the cars won't roll into the bowl, and that's kind of important for Hump Yard. So just to make sure that everything's good, down each lead. There you go. As you can see, no matter which way the car goes, it'll roll. And that's what you're looking for. So that's how you start the how you start the build the Hump Yard, and then how to build each group track. This is the way I build almost all curved yards. This is the way I build every Hump Yard I've ever done. I build them from one side and work towards the end of it, and you have to. It's just the way it is. It's the way you have to build it so the Hump Yard will work correctly. So going based on track logic, this one is mainline. So as always, here we go. Turn it on to that so I can watch each segment individually. All right, so that looks a little bit more familiar to you guys now. So it doesn't look, how it does with all the tracks being black. That's just easier for us when we're playing to differentiate between the tracks. Right. Sorry, I had to answer a text message. Once again, I apologize for not seeming as enthusiastic. So it's just been a long day. But I still want to produce this stuff for you guys so people can do the thing. By the thing, I mean, map making. So I'll just pick a segment for what I think is going to be the right size. There is a way that I build yards normally. Hump yards I build entirely different from any other yard. Just because of the strict way that you have to make them or they don't work. Why'd I do that? Alright, so going on with this. I think the 35 or the 30s are a little bit too much for this. Maybe. Yeah, so we'll go back and try with the 25 and see how that looks. Yeah, that's a little better. I don't think that's necessarily the right angle that I need to go with this, but make it work. Try it down here. This one will give me a better idea. Oh yeah, no, that'll be fine. Maybe. I don't think so. Well, you guys are getting to see how I do this all the time. Yes, that angle's not right. So we go with the 23, see how the 23 reacts. 23 is a little better. Not great, but a little better. So go with the 21. You can see that right there. That almost follows the angle to a T. So we'll go with that. We'll just make everything 21s. That makes it a little bit more extensive instead of using the prefabs like you guys saw me trying to use. So now I'll just go up to 20. Bring it over to 21. I don't think I'm going to record the whole build for the hump yard. I'm just going to show you guys how to set up the car retarders. Because, I mean, everything else after that's pretty much the same. There's not really much different. That still ain't right. Oh, we'll get there. This is the wonderful part about hump yards or any super complex ladder system. Alright, so let's do it like this. Because if I leave it the way it is now, you're not going to be able to fit as many cars in the bowl, and that's a problem in itself. So we will go with we'll just build one group at a time. Sometimes it works out to where you can do it the way that I'm trying to do it. Other times, as you're seeing now, it doesn't work like that. So we'll go here, and we'll go to try the 25s again. Alright, so it's not 25s. I can tell that because of these switches right here. So we'll go to 30. It's probably going to be closer to 30 if I had to guess. And make sure I get the last group track up there too. And then the middle one. And this is where I start really referencing again pretty heavily into Google Earth. So I can make sure that all my switches are right. So that one looks good. Connect that to there. This one will be connected to there, hopefully. Nope, I did that wrong. So this switch actually starts way back here. So put that one there. And then this one can go there. So there's the first group completed. Well, almost completed. Then this one, if you're following along on the imagery, see that it goes down here. And then it ties in. Just like that. So, now comes the point where everybody wants to know how to do it. Is the cart retarders. How do you get the cars to not do the thing? And by the thing, I mean rolling. How do you get them to not roll and come out of the bowl? So to do that, you need to go to Google Earth and find a piece of imagery where you can see where the end of the cars are at. Or the car retarder itself. There's a track skate. Generally speaking, the cars don't go out much over the track skates. So you'll want to place it like up here. So you want to click the retarder button. And generally speaking, they are all they're all spaced out almost the same. So you could pretty much just go up this way and just put car retarders down to your heart's content. But don't be like me and do that. Make sure you drag the mainline segments out. Select car retarder, come down here, get yourself some more track. Do that. And hopefully, with any luck, this will allow me to do what I want to do. Or would like to do. Let's see, where are we at? Sort of on an hour right now. So I think I'm going to show you guys how I build probably half of this, so you guys can troubleshoot it with me. But yeah, appreciate everybody that does check this out. Hopefully you're able to pull some information from it, so you can help keep this wonderful simulation that we have going. Because like I said in the last video, if it wasn't for the community, this game wouldn't even be a thing. Like I said, you'll notice that every one of these I build the exact same way. You'll never see me build backwards, just because it will mess up the way the hump works. Make sure all your switches are set the way they need to be, like this one. And this one. And then same thing for here. Get a bunch of 30s down. Get your other one, too, because this one is one of the 2 tracks. Has a switch with 2 of them coming off. Same thing on this one. Okay, there's that. So this is another point you can see right here. The cars stop about right there, where that green segment is. That's where the track skates will be. First 2 are the same, and then every other one is usually staggered. And then the last 2 will be in the same spot. So whenever the cars come rolling down, they'll do their thing, and then right when they get to that car retarder, they'll stop. It looks like this one is going to be a little bit more of a problem, maybe, Because if you can see, that track looks like it's the lead actually looks like it's a little bit longer. It does. Alright, so we'll take 30s, give it a 35. You can see that meshes up just a little bit better. And there we go. That fixes the problem with that of it not lining up the way that I wanted it to. So same thing. Find out where the cars are stopping. It's about right here. Yeah, that'll be right there. Yeah, don't make that a rarer crossing. So you can see, as you guys can see now, this is actually really starting to come together. This part's going to get a little bit goofy because the switch is actually under the bridge. So this is one of those situations where it is acceptable to have two different segments. And this one's going to be longer just because of what it is. So then use that one, put that under the bridge, and it doesn't show up because of those. So whenever you go to test switches and you click V-FYM, as mentioned before in the last video, if you don't have a segment on either side of any leg of the switch, it will not work. So you'll see it and it'll show like that's broken. But yeah, so this is pretty much how I build Hump Yards. Pretty much built almost half of the bowl with you guys. So I think I'm probably going to call it here. We're already at an hour and a half. I know this is a slower video, but hopefully it really helps. I know it's not as interactive as it was yesterday. But this is where we're at. I don't know if I'm going to film doing the support yard or not. I may, but I don't know. Doing the support yard's not bad. I mean, I pretty much do that the way I've built every other yard. It's just at an angle. You just got to find the right angle and then use the same size switches for everything. But yeah, so I hope, like I said, hopefully you guys learned something. So far, I've been enjoying doing these videos. Hopefully, you guys will use them, and I'll be able to see your guys' work inside the game as well. So yeah, like I said, any questions, feel free to email me or get a hold of me any way that you prefer. I have Discord, but I don't use it. I can use it if that's something that would be requested. So, you know, I know it's a little bit easier on there to demonstrate stuff, especially working one-on-one. Yeah, like I said, anything you guys want me to cover, let me know. Email me. You can contact me through the game. You know, yeah, anything you guys want me to cover, or you want one-on-one sessions to be a little bit more in-depth with stuff so I can address specific things instead of just covering things at random like I am now. Yeah, dude. Thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully you guys were able to gain some stuff out of this.